Welcome to WVTC TV Network, capturing family moments in real time, bringing families closer together from the comforts of home. We are unleashing something different to the world. Start your subscription today for the low price of $4.99 per month or $55 annually. Go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com to sign up today. WVTC TV Network is streaming live on 8 different platforms. You can easily download the WVTC TV Network app on the Apple Store, Play Store, Roku, Fire TV, and more. Here at WVTC TV, we have access to movies that everyone can enjoy, including independent films, Sons of a Preacher and a Good Thing, Treasures of Life, the epic drama, The Passion of the Christ, and the box office hit Madagascar Escape to Africa. Remember, go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com and sign up today.
Hello, hi there, fam. Welcome. I'm your girl, Dr. Toy Flowers, and welcome back to You Plant, We Water. I have my special co-host,
Trisha.
And as you know, here on this side of the world, we are dedicated to combining faith, mental health, and thriving, healthy relationships. Hence, You Plant, We Water, right? So that we can have that fulfilling life and relationship that God has called us to. In this new year, we are focusing this month of January on the new year, the new you. If you didn't have a chance to catch our last show, we were talking about our relationship and how do you assess whether you are with the one, if you believe there is a one. So in the new year, new you, we've talked about our relationships. And today we are super excited because we are going to be talking about our health, right? That's our physical health, our wellness, our mental health, all things related to health. So super excited about that. Before we get to that, I will reintroduce a little bit about myself, and then we're going to queue up a video that we have ready for you. So I, again, am Dr. Toy Flowers. I'm a licensed professional counselor with a PhD in counseling, and I also teach counseling at a university. I focus on seeing clients. In particular, I have a niche working with high conflict couples. So hence I bring a lot of that. Trish, you want to say just a little bit, reintroducing yourself to our lovely audience?
Well, yeah. So I am a minister and a lifestyle coach. So I don't have the PhD that she has, but no. And that's why I don't give advice outside of what I'm able to give. And so we just are so thankful that you guys are tuning in, and we hope that the content that we're giving to you guys is useful.
Yes.
We want to make sure that people are healing in 2025.
Yes. All right. So having said that, we have this amazing video from a podcast called We Need to Talk. And it's featuring Dr. Anthony Combs. I might be mispronouncing his name. But basically, he's a naturopathic doctor, and he is talking about the connection between our faith and diet and all things related to good health. So we're going to play a little bit of that for you, and then we're going to chop it up and talk through it. Really love this. Right?
I know.
Oh my gosh, they're aggressive, right? And that's the animal passion. That's the flesh. That's the carnal man. We talk about the spiritual mind. We're talking the frontal lobe. Frontal lobe damage alters the morals of man. Sugar damages the frontal lobe.
Oh my God, have mercy.
You know, that's why he went in the wilderness. He had to redeem man where man failed at. The Creator did not intend for us to be 80 and 90 in a nursing home and don't know who we are. The reproductive organ has to be invested in. If he did not want us to enjoy it, he wouldn't have put like 80,000 nerds down there, man.
Talk to me. Preach to me.
He wouldn't have us calling his name. I want to rise.
Listen to me.
The enemy is counting on us to die.
Almost definitely.
Because if he could distract us to have us praying for diabetes, then we won't be on the field casting out demons.
And the Lord reveals himself to me.
This is not a podcast. This is a deliverance ministry. God is going to deliver just as many, if not more, here than he does inside of church buildings. But to release it, because there's such a liberty and such a safety
that you got to keep running back and bowing down, and you got to keep giving yourself over to it. It's proving it to you over and over.
And the weightiness of your anointing. The Lord says thousands will be delivered.
Hold up. Before you keep watching, click the subscribe button. I'll wait. Nah, seriously, subscribe right now. Also, like and share this video. The more you like, share, comment, and engage with this video, the more we're able to produce content just like this. And also, we got this merch. The link is in description. If you want to support the channel, you can also donate. That's also in the description. The more you guys support, the more we're able to produce content just like this. Thank you again. Peace.
The most affordable 12-month GLP-1 program with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy for
y'all didn't ask for it because y'all didn't know y'all needed it. I have with me a brother that, man, I thought, man, it would be amazing to have this brother on this podcast, but this is so different from the things that we talk about on this podcast, but it should not be so. This brother, ever since I've heard him open his mouth, has brought such a level of conviction, inspiration, transformation to my life, my whole household. He goes by the name of Dr. Anthony Corns. Y'all, wherever you are, lock in right now. Stay glued in. You do not want to miss what he has to say. My brother, welcome.
Welcome.
Man,
glad to be here, man.
Welcome, because we need to talk. That's the name of this podcast. Brother, your life and your message is so powerful. And I think that it's so unique. I don't know how God took you on this approach, but could you please just give us a little glimpse of your journey? How did you go from just the regular guy somewhere to now a real powerhouse voice transforming lives wherever you turn?
Great question. You know, as I think about my journey in my early teens, I did not realize that God was preparing me for the work that he has for me to do even now. But I realized that he gave me a vision. I began to look at the world around me. I began to look at how individuals navigating health, and it didn't set well with me. I did not like what I saw, and what I saw was telling me that this is my future. And I said, this can't be my future.
What were you seeing?
I was seeing people that I cared about dying from cancers, from diabetes, from heart attacks. I was seeing individuals as they began to navigate 70, 80, and I saw how they began to slow down, how they were on crutches, how they were sick, how they were on oxygen and various things like that. And I could not conceptualize my life being that way. So it caused me to want to solve problems. And as I began to seek to solve these problems, God brought me solutions, and solutions were, look, you need to start investing in your health and your wellness. I was able to see individuals like Jack LaLanne, who was in his 90s and still fit and still active. His wife navigating the 90s, still fit and still active. That gave me a vision, Ezekiel, of what's possible.
Come on.
I realized that what I was seeing did not have to be my reality. So I said at a very young age that I'm going to start making investments. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the tools, but I had the mindset.
That's good.
And once I got the mindset, the Creator started bringing things my way. He started exposing me to things that I began to start investing in the things that I was learning, like healthy eating and juicing and exercise and various aspects of wellness. And I bit off as much as I can chew. And as I was faithful with those little things, God started giving me more. And that journey has been a great journey, and I have no regrets. And you have to realize.
So he is talking about so much, and I strongly encourage anybody that's viewing us to go back and watch the full video. It's long, but he's going to cover all types of things with health. We've both watched it. We've been encouraged and inspired. So, Trish, I'll let you start. What are some things from the video that resonated with you that you want to share with our own audience that we can kind of encourage people with their health and how it connects to faith?
Okay, so the first thing that really resonated with me was how, rightfully so, being a minister, how your health is really correlated to your relationship with God.
Absolutely.
And sometimes as Christians, we lose sight of that, and it's sometimes put at the back burner, where we think, well, I can pray over it. But I, after watching this video, have been convicted, and I recognize that I have to take my health serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't pray for something without works, right? So you have to do the work. And so a lot of this video speaks to that, where you want to make sure that you are living in a way that represents what God would do, your temple. And we hear that all the time. It's very generic. We're all like, oh, your temple, you have to do your temple. Well, if you really were seriously thinking about your temple, you would recognize that some of the things that we're putting in our temple, we know aren't good. We know it's not helpful. We know it's not beneficial, and yet we do it. And so they talk about a lot of the things and why we do it. And I found that to be very informative and life-changing for me.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go share some specific examples, but I mean, it's mind-blowing what he's talking about. Really what he's talking about is diet. In the world of mental health, we know that there's a connection between, we call it the brain-gut connection. What you eat and your brain, your mental functioning, your clarity, and even mental illness. Things such as red dye and all of these artificial things actually impede our ability. But what I love is that he said, if you take what we know with natural science, so he studied nutrition and all of these things, he called that the natural, and then you take a look at the Bible and what the Bible says spiritually, and you combine them, then he says you get supernatural healing. And I thought that was mind-blowing. And what he's talking about is the diet that is prescribed in the Bible, because there is a diet in the Bible, right? And we know we don't have to live by the laws, and we can eat whatever we want to eat. But what he said that just light bulb went off, he said, yes, but if you had a luxury car that required premium fuel, would you put the economy fuel in it, or would you go with the preferred diet? So something as simple as that, looking at the Bible to see what was the preferred diet, right? How can I emulate that? I thought that was just mind-blowing. And I know as a professional that what we eat, even in that clip we showed, he talked about how sugar can damage your frontal lobe. I know I've showed the brain model before. That's this part here. And this is our automatic response systems, right? Where we're just kind of doing things. If that's messed up, he said it led to, I think he said, immoral decisions, right? That's the food you eat, Skittles and Kit Kats, things like that. He also talked about how through diet, he healed his mother's broken bone, right? She took her to the doctor. They were going to amputate her finger. They started eating right, and she was healed. So this is real. And it's already outlined in the Bible. There's instructions we can use there. We wanted to bring it to you because we know at the beginning of the year, a lot of people were like, I'm gonna hit the gym, I'm gonna eat right. But we want to give you all the tools so that you can be truly successful. You have any other thoughts? I can go on and on.
So and then another thing that really resonated again was you are not supposed to be a burden to your family, right? And so if we're not eating well and we're not putting in the right nutrition, we all leave wills, but we don't do the same thing for our actual bodies. And so if you have a will and a living testimony of what you want to do and things like that, you should also be doing that for yourself. So you should also have certain things that you know you shouldn't be doing, but yet we still do. And so again, my whole thing is prayer changes things, but you also have to do the work. So that was like one of the key things is you must also participate. And we don't want you guys to just make New Year's resolutions, because I read a statistic where by Friday of the following week,
which would be this no, it's passed already, but go ahead.
You're not doing it. So we need to have our strength, which is the Lord, right? So that part was very important to me.
Absolutely. And we started off by talking about we want to have a healthy, thriving life, right? You can extend your life by the healthy choices that you make. He talked about, and I'm sure you've all heard this, I know I've heard it a lot before as well, but are you putting living foods in your body, things that give life? Or are you filling your body up with things that are from death, right? And you talked about something really great, and I'm going to cue you up here, but you talked about the Daniel fast.
So yes, I'm actually doing the Daniel fast, and we hope that you guys are also willing to do it with us. I was inspired by what he was saying. And so the Daniel fast is just fruits and vegetables and flatbread and trying to make sure that you eat things that are alive, right? That are good for you. And I wanted to piggyback on one of the things that you mentioned. When he was talking about the brain, he was saying also that when we use I don't know if I'm saying it right, the frontal part of the brain, we're animals. So we do things that are animal survival, right? And so we're not living in our best selves when we're doing that. So that's what possessed me to be like, you know what? Let me go back and let me do the Daniel fast. And so I have only been on it one day, but I can honestly say I have gotten a lot of clarity. And for me, I like sugar. So that withdrawal from that and being able to hear is really good.
Sugar. Don't get me started on sugar. But to your point, what you were saying about the animal part, he even connected that to the flesh, by operating in our flesh. That sugar activates the frontal lobe, which activate our animal instincts, which activates our flesh, right? And what we know with the Daniel fast, we know that Daniel, he was being pressured, right, to not to bow down to the king, to eat different things, and he stayed the course. So I love that you mentioned that. I've done, and I've done in the past, and we want to give you all things that we've tried that we know work. I've done something called the green smoothie cleanse, which is similar. You eat only fruits and vegetables, and you have smoothies, which have fruit and all of that in them each day. And when you talk about clarity, that's how I know this is real. Like, I have experienced it for myself, not just seeing things like your skin clear up and things, but the mental clarity. I've done it two or three times, and each time I've been able to give up something that I was hooked on. Like, I was addicted to soda, Coca-Cola. Like, I had to have multiple Coca-Colas per day. I did this cleanse. I haven't had a can of Coke in, it's probably been like 7 years. The last time I did it, I went from Coke to caffeine. I was like, give me the coffee. I haven't had caffeine in 3 years. Maybe the next time I do it, I'll give up the sugar. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. That's the great part about, you plant, you water. We're not telling you to go and just jump off and do something. You're going to have some difficulties, but the whole point with Christ is that we get better, right? We get that strength. We learn the tools. We get the counseling, because sometimes it's hard to give up sugar if you're battling something else, right? And you're using the sugar or the sweets to cover up something that's a trauma. So that's why it's important to get the counseling.
I got to speak to that, because that's really powerful, right? Because that could even be a trigger. The sadder you are, the more down, the more stressed you are, your eating goes down too. And the more your eating goes down, the more you eat unhealthy things, the more that frontal lobe is activated, the more you're in your flesh, the more you're making immoral decisions, and the more junk you eat. Right? I don't think that that's a coincidence that that cycle exists. So I love that you mentioned that, because we hear about it all the time. People break up, they eat, sitting and watching Lifetime movies, eating a pint of ice cream. I don't think that's an accident, right?
It's not. It's not. And then the other thing that really stood out to me was relationships, and how as a couple is together, and a lot of people are, we're not going to say what, but are taking pills and things from the grocery store to be able to have a good reproductive life. And there's things that you can do. Okay, there's things you can do that are natural.
Yes,
they're natural things that you can do. And that was something that I think a lot of people don't realize. And one of the things that he stated on that video, if you watch it, was people are taking these pills and they don't realize, yes, you're getting the reproductive part of it, but you could also cause more harm to yourself because your body can't handle it. That's why it was shutting down. So we can do that with a lot of different things. Sometimes you're eating things that your body can't handle and you're upset because it can't handle it. You know, even being lactose intolerant. If you're eating milk and you're lactose intolerant, you're going to ultimately have some issues. And that's what this whole video podcast was about, was just kind of being honest and transparent with oneself and realizing that you can't do everything. It will catch up with you at some point, and you need to have the tools available, counseling being one of them, to go through that and to find out, why are you doing said thing? And I really love that he mentioned it.
I love it. And you mentioned counseling, and how I'm going to connect this all together. Even in counseling, we are aware of this. So for instance, people who are dealing with severe depression, we will often recommend that they increase things like vitamin D by taking a supplement, vitamin K, right? There, vitamin B. We know that increasing these vitamins will help combat that down mood, that depression. But why do we have to take vitamins and supplements? Because we're not getting it in our diet. And that is what I love, that it's here. All the tools we ever need are there in the Bible, right? And so treating your body truly as a temple and recognizing that that includes what you eat. As one of the viewers said, we truly are what we eat, right? So being a reflection of that. If you're eating junk, are you junk?
Very true.
Are you God's chosen person, right? Like, are you a royal priesthood, right? Are you set apart? Okay, don't get me started. But any other thoughts?
Well, no, that was also in the video. So, right, if you love yourself, and this is going to be tough, I get it. But if you love yourself, would you, goes back to the fuel thing, put garbage into yourself? And how will you be able to help the kingdom if you're not helping yourself? So it's important and imperative that you learn these skill sets. And it's okay. You're going to mess up. You probably will. And it's okay. But get back on the wagon. Do it again. Don't give up. Keep trying to figure it out. And again, I always say prayer changes things.
Prayer does change things. So what we're hoping is that we could be checking in with each other throughout this month and just seeing if those of you who want to join the Daniel fast, we're here to encourage one another. And I don't want to make it seem like I'll speak about, I don't have it figured out. Okay. So please don't make it seem like I'm like, oh yeah, I have a great diet. I eat vegetables and fruit every day. And no, I don't. So I'm in it with you. And as you know, sometimes they say, when you are ministering and sharing with people what God's doing, it convicts you first. Everything coming on, I feel conviction, right? Because I was eating M&Ms on the way here, and I knew we were talking about this today.
But that's the good part. We want you guys to realize that we're human, and we don't have it all figured out, and we fail, and that's okay. The point is getting back on there and doing what you need to do and figuring it out. And each time, and I had to tell my sister this, each time you did it, you gave something up. So it wasn't a failure. But sometimes we think like that, like, well, I didn't do it and I didn't get rid of everything. And that's not true. Like, well, what you did do was you stopped something that you were doing for 7 years. So that's the significant thing. So we want to just embrace all of the small changes. And again, like she was saying, we are not perfect. We are here being as transparent as we know how, so that we can uplift the kingdom.
Yes, yes, yes. Last little bit says, because we're going to be bringing it to a close, and you make me think of this in what you were saying, bringing it back to relationships and to the body, right? To the church. Let's really think about, and he talks about this, what do we really eat after church? What do we see at them church gatherings? What kind of foods are we eating, right? And beyond that, in your actual relationship, did you know that being married extends a man's life? He will live longer because he's married. Ladies, I hate to say it, the same is not true for you because sometimes these men will stress you out. No, I'm just kidding. But what is true? Being married will extend a man's life. I'm mentioning that is because, not to sound chauvinistic or biased, but a lot of times it is the woman who is controlling the diet of the household, right? So by thinking about the temple, your own temple, and loving yourself first, you can spread that love throughout your whole household by the foods you're bringing in the house, the groceries you shop for, and all of that. So it's an act of love that it's a gift you can give yourself that will keep on giving, and it can give for generation and generation and generation, right? So love, love, love this. I'm so glad we talked about that. I think we talked about it in a unique way, right? We weren't just like, hey, give up cookies for 30 days. Like, we're really trying to be real, be honest, be convicted, be transparent, right? And you keep saying prayer changes things, and it does, right? I might not be able to do this alone in my flesh, but all things are possible through Christ.
Absolutely. And that's the difference. That's the key. You've done all of these quick, fast things and it didn't work, right? So give it a try. Do the Daniel fast with us.
Right. Tap into the supernatural, right? The natural science plus God's word for supernatural results. So again, as we always ask, feel free to visit our Facebook page. We will have a link to the full video. It is profound, and there's so much more that we couldn't even begin to cover. Please also check out the We Need to Talk podcast, which is where we found this information. And put any questions and comments that you might have, and let's encourage one another. Whatever it is you're doing to be healthier, let us know, right? And so iron sharpens iron, and we can all be in this together. So, as always, thank you so much for tuning in to You Plant We Water. Would you like to do the honors? Water. We hope you tune in again next week.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.